What's going on, everyone? The NBA really needs to do something about its referees. They are just terrible. They are atrocious. And look, every year there are just questionable moments, questionable calls, questionable things in general. You know, you have good refs, you have bad refs. Usually the refs kind of get weeded out as we get into the playoffs, and then you have the more veteran-led refs that do the playoff series and stuff. But still, you have these refs that just, it's almost like they're trying to control and dictate the game, and they get their own emotions and personalities involved into the game, and they kind of just act like everyone's there to watch them, and they're not there to just kind of follow the rule book and follow what's in play. And look, I understand it's not just basketball, right? It's all sports, baseball, football, and you're trusting human judgment, human error, right? And some things are questionable. I mean, there's lots of that carry over, like never gets called in the NBA. There's certain little things, star players usually get a little bit of favoritism, things like that, right? That's just the way it goes. The more notable players are always going to get a little bit of a leeway, and it's just kind of been that way. But there are some stars that just don't, and LeBron James can't get a foul to save his life. I mean, so much so, like notorious LeBron haters are coming out and being like, dude, what does LeBron have to do to get a foul call? Right? Like it's becoming an issue. You're seeing that with not just LeBron, but a bunch of players in this league. And I'm not saying turn the game into a free throw contest. And I understand, like even dating back to Shaq, right? You had referees that were like, look, it was impossible to call Shaq fair because he was fouled on every possession, and it would have just been a free throw shooting contest for the Lakers and the Magic and whatever other team he was on. So I do understand it, but there are levels to this. And we are seeing a lot this year of just refs getting very tech happy for reasons that the refs shouldn't even be getting tech happy, right? A perfect example is Luka. Luka got a tech for talking to his teammate, yelling at his teammate, telling his teammate, let's go after a foul call. He wasn't even in the ref's direction. He was looking directly at foul. And you had the ref come walk over and give him a technical foul. Even if he was just screaming into the ether, like he didn't curse. He said, let's go. Like he wasn't sitting there telling everybody or screaming at a ref or doing whatever. It's just complete nonsense. And it ruins the flow of the game. It affects players, because you're getting technicals, and that affects like your salaries. That affects, incentives if you get suspended, all kinds of they're really just doing this on a regular basis this year. We have seen several moments with several players that the refs are just, oh, you get a technical and you get a technical. It's unbelievable. And the Luka tech was insane. And techs in general for emotion are ridiculous, right? I hate the bench tech, where they don't want the players jumping up. These are professional athletes that are playing a competitive sport. What do you expect from them? You want them to sit on their hands and just, sit there and go, oh, yes, good shot, sir. Yes, oh, you, sir. Yes, very good. I love it. Splendid. Oh, yes, this isn't cricket. This is NBA basketball. You got high-flying dunks. You got all these moments. You got the crowd going crazy. You're on a run. Somebody goes and makes a big play. You're excited. Your adrenaline's pumping. You're good to go. You're ready. You want to just run in there yourself, right? That's the emotion. Or players, they get to the basket, they get an and one, and big and one. Another great example, Jason Tatum, right? Jason Tatum got a technical for clapping his hands to himself. He wasn't clapping at the ref. He wasn't clapping at anybody. He was literally looking down, clapping at himself, telling himself, let's go. Come on, get it together. These are emotional players. These are guys that are competitive, that want to win, that if they make a bad play, they're in their heads and they're trying to and you're trying to take all the emotion, all of the passion out of the game. What does that do? That ruins the game, that ruins the aesthetic. That just makes us fans go this is stupid. Get rid of that ref. The ref's an idiot. Be done with them. It becomes a real plague in the league, and it gives the league a real black eye when you have these referees that are trying to just dictate stuff. You're not important. You are replaceable. You are somebody that there are 1,000 other of yous that could come in and easily blow a whistle and make a call. The league isn't making money because of the referees. People aren't buying tickets to go see the referee. Maybe your mom or your cousin or your sister or whoever, maybe they are, but some of these refs act like, like they're the reason everyone's here. Like, oh, I have the almighty whistle. Like, who are you? Oh, you Luka? Jason Tatum? Like, you're nothing. I am the referee. I am the almighty. Like, it's disturbing. And the league, Adam Silver's in the league, in the CBA. I mean, you got all the CBA stuff going on right now. That just got pushed to February, I believe. And that's going to be interesting. Like, that could be a real problem and a real issue. So much so, I mean, it could stall this season. Technically, I don't think it will, but it's something that can. Like, there's a lot that needs to be addressed, right? As far as, like, players' contracts, players' mobility, but also the refs. They really need to have a sit down and figure out the referees. Put them through better training, start suspending them or holding them accountable. And look, I'm not saying, suspend them for a bad call or something like that, right? What I'm saying is, because bad calls are going to happen. There are things that are going to happen, right? It's a game, and you're trusting human error. You're trusting humans to their eye test. You're trusting their emotions, right? They get caught up in the moment. They get caught up in a game. We've all seen referees kind of just stand and just get lost in the game, right? It happens because they're human, right? So I'm not saying like, oh, you made a bad call, you missed a foul, you should be fined or suspended. No, but there are clear, blatant, just mismanagement type of calls, and those should be held accountable, because the problem is you have referees that don't get held accountable, and because of that, they just continue to do what they want to do. And like you have like the last 2-minute report and stuff, and it breaks down all the goods and bads, and like what calls they missed and stuff like that, and that's great. And like I said, I'm not saying that you missed the travel the last 30 seconds that led to a game winner, right? Like, okay, like, I don't think that they should be in trouble for that. Should they have called the travel? Sure. But they're caught up in the moment. It's human error. You're going to have mistakes. But if a ref gives a technical for that, they should be fined, right? Like, why are you getting whistle happy? Your job is to give a technical accordingly. The rule book doesn't say, like, oh, if a player claps and talks to themselves, that you should give a technical. It doesn't say if a player is talking to their other teammate, not the opposing team, not one of the refs, not one of the coaches, not staring at the other team's bench, but talking to one of his teammates on his team, and you give a technical to, and they gave the free throws. Two things need to happen. Either A, that ref should be reprimanded, like seriously, to start sending a message like, you need to stop this, because this isn't like a one-off. This wasn't like a, oh, sorry, I thought you were yelling at me type thing. My bad. No, this is becoming a regular thing. There are several occurrences this year of just this year alone. That's not even counting any of the other years. I'm talking about just this year. We have seen like 5 or 6 technicals minimum that just weren't even supposed to be close to a technical. Like, it had nothing to do with the ref. It had nothing to do with the play. It was guys talking to themselves or talking to their teammates or doing whatever. Like, it's insane to me. And Adam Silver needs to start holding these referees accountable. Any other job. If you work at McDonald's, if you work at some factory, if you work wherever, right? You are held accountable. You have a job description. You have things, rules, and things that you are trained in, that you're supposed to understand. And if you do those things incorrectly, what usually happens? You usually get a write-up, or you get suspended, or you could even get fired, right? Well, how come refs don't have any of those things? Like, refs don't have, like, when do you ever hear of a ref being suspended? Like, the only time you have a ref being suspended was, I'm blanking on his name at the moment, but he said, I don't want to say it on YouTube just because I don't want this to get, demonetized, but he basically told, stop crying, and stuff like that. He ended up getting suspended for use of verbiage. But nonetheless, it's outside of that, like, there's no repercussions for the refs. So either A, you got to start having repercussions, or B, allow refs to evaluate the situation and rescind and overturn stuff. And if they don't, then give them reprimand, right? So let's say that ref, for example, for Luka, called the tech. They're all saying, dude, no, he was, I was talking to my teammate. Okay, well, the guy's about to go shoot the free throws. Go shoot the regular free throws. Go over to the monitor in that time. Go see if that's the truth. Look at it. Come back and say, yes, no technical foul. That was my bad. I made a mistake, and move on. You know, but you got to do something, because it's things like that actually can change the tide of games, control and dictate games. You had like Donnie, who was betting on games and rigging games and doing all kinds of stuff, and you have a lot of people. I don't think games are rigged. I just think it's too hard. There's too many variables. There's too many things that have to go right or wrong for for a game to actually be rigged. But what it can do is it can change momentum or tides or things like that. Dallas still won the game, but what if that was a 2-point game with 30 seconds left, and they got the foul and they had the chance to tie the game, but then Luka got a technical for something that shouldn't have been a technical, and now the Mavs lose the game in a game that they should have won. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. You're allowing referees to insert themselves and actually impact the game, which should never be the factor, right? Refs should never be able to control games to that level. There should be an opportunity to correct it, like the Jason Tatum thing. Okay, what was that? Who was he talking to? And I understand, I understand, and the refs' defense to an extent, because I am being critical of the refs. So let's make an argument for them. I understand they're human. I understand that these players are in their ear constantly. They're crying, they're whining, especially in today's NBA, right? Yeah, everything's a foul to these players, right? Every little thing is, oh, ref, you didn't call this, or ref, you didn't call that. I understand that night in and night out, they are getting screamed at, they are getting cussed at, they are getting whatever. I get that. And I get that, you remember stuff. We're human again, right? Hey, Luka loves to cuss us out. Luka told me I'm an idiot last game. Okay, watch. I'm going to wait for an opportunity. But it shouldn't be like that. I understand that they, just like I said, the players are emotional and the players are competitive and the players are involved. These refs are the same way. You don't get to be an NBA ref unless, you are driven and competitive and trying to, work your tail off to get to that level, right? You don't just walk in and just say, oh, I'm going to be an NBA ref, right? So I do understand to that degree, but there needs to be accountability across all fronts. Like the NBA players, they get held accountable. Whether you're a max star or a guy at the end of the bench, a fine is a fine, right? Well, why don't referees have the same thing? Refs get paid good money, especially some of these veteran refs, and I think you need to have a structure, especially if it's a rookie ref, maybe the suspension's a little light, or maybe it's just a warning or whatever, and hey, you do this again, this is what's gonna happen. But I think the more veteran you are, the bigger the penalty should be. I really do. But it's just, they need to do something. Like I said, at the end of the day, they gotta fix this problem, because it's becoming a real problem. It's just mind blowing to me. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think, yes, the NBA needs to start holding refs accountable? Do you think the refs are getting carried away? Do you think, no, it's just part of the game, it happens? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between, I'd love to hear them. So let me know down in the comments.